esteemed viewers. Good morning to you. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from. This is Daily Digest on esteemed Radio Vision. We are located at the Bokon of the New in Elisha, Ocean State, Nigeria. This morning on Daily Digest, I am Chidima Abel, and I have with me
Oluwatoyosi Solanke.
All right, we'll be starting with the Punch. The Punch news headline this morning. Presidency downplays Tinubu's stumble, says Turkey visits on course. The presidency has reassured Nigerians that President Bola Tinubu is in good health and proceeding with his scheduled visit to Turkey as planned, following a brief stumble during a ceremonial reception in Ankara on Tuesday. The update was provided by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Public Communications, Sunday Dare, via his verified X handle. Dare confirmed that the president moved from the ceremonial welcome to scheduled bilateral meetings with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and other senior officials. The meetings are aimed at deepening diplomatic relations and expanding cooperation across strategic sectors, including defense and security, trade and investment, energy, and broader economic development. The smooth progression of the visit reflects growing ties between Nigeria and Turkey and underscores Nigeria's renewed diplomatic outreach under President Tinubu. Addressing concerns about the president's well-being, the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, explained that the stumble was minor and caused by the president stepping on a metal object on the floor. From the Punch, we get a full story.
Still on the Punch this morning, Tinubu proposes 110 Court of Appeal justice. President Bola Tinubu has asked the Senate to approve a bill seeking to amend the Court of Appeal Act to increase the number of justices from 70 to 110 as part of reforms aimed at strengthening Nigeria's appellate justice system. The request was conveyed in a letter addressed to the President of the Senate, Senator Godwin Akpabio, and read at the plenary on Tuesday. According to the President, the proposed amendments are intended to enhance the institutional capacity, efficiency, and effectiveness of the Court of Appeal in line with constitutional provisions and emerging realities within the justice sector. He said the central feature of the bill is the expansion of the court bench to cope with rising caseloads and operational pressures. On the Punch, you get the full details.
All right, moving ahead, still on the Punch this morning. How I lost my 3-week-old daughter to Makoko demolition. This is coming from a carpenter. A carpenter, Papa Eva Mosu, has narrated how he lost his 3-week-old daughter, Mureni Keji, during last week's demolition carried out by the Lagos State government in the Makoko area of the state. And Mosu, who spoke with Punch Metro during a visit to the community on Tuesday, said his wife fell into the lagoon with their newborn while trying to escape the chaos that followed the tear gas fired by policemen attached to the task force team. According to him, on that day, the police officers fired tear gas because they said they did not want people to gather in groups. His wife tried to move away from the area with the daughter and she fell into the lagoon with her. The carpenter added that his workshop was among the structures pulled down during the exercise, leaving him jobless. From the Punch, we get a full story.
Still on the Punch, FG deploys military retirees to secure ungoverned spaces. The federal government has unveiled plans to deploy military veterans to help secure Nigeria's ungoverned spaces as part of strategies to strengthen national security and drive economic activities in conflict-affected areas. This followed the inauguration of an 18-member committee by the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, tasked with reclaiming ungoverned spaces for economic viability and repositioning the Nigerian Legion Corps of Commissionaries and Veterans. A statement on Wednesday by the Ministry's Deputy Director of Information, Enderline Chukwu, on behalf of the Director of Information and Republic Relations, said the committee was inaugurated on Tuesday at the Ministry of Defense headquarters, Abuja, with the minister represented by the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Richard Felangwa. Speaking at the event, Musa said the deployment of veterans onto the ungoverned spaces would complement ongoing military operations by bringing experienced personnel into the local security and development efforts, particularly in areas where state presence remains weak. The full details will be gotten from the Punch.
All right, moving away from the Punch, now onto the Vanguard. The Vanguard this morning. South Korea's ex-first lady jailed for 20 months for taking bribes. A South Korean judge handed the country's former first lady, Kim Kyung-hee, 20 months in jail for accepting lavish gifts from a cult-like church on Wednesday, but acquitted her for alleged stock manipulation and other charges. Controversy has long surrounded 53-year-old Kim, and accusations of graft, influence peddling, and even academic fraud dominated her husband, Yoon Suk-yeol's time in office. Both are now in custody. Yoon for actions taken during his disastrous declaration of martial law in December 2024 and its chaotic aftermath, and Kim for corruption. On Wednesday, Judge Woo in Song of the Seoul Central District Court found her guilty of corruption and sentenced her to 20 months in prison. She was found to have accepted lavish bribes from the court-like unification church, including a Chanel bag and a graph necklace. From the Vanguard, you will get the full story.
Still on the Vanguard, Governor Yusuf will regret leaving NNPP, Kwankwaso. The presidential candidate of the new Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, in 2023 general election and leader of Kwankwasiya movement, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has said that Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and his political associates will eventually regret their decision to leave the party. Kwankwaso made this assertion during an interview with the BBC Hausa service, monitored by our correspondent in Kaduna on Wednesday, describing the governor's defection as shocking and difficult to comprehend. According to the former Kano State Governor, the circumstances surrounding Yusuf's exit from the NNPP appeared unreal and confusing even to him. Many people have come to me saying they believe what happened was part of an arrangement, either between me and him or between me and those around him. Even I, on several occasions, find it hard to believe that events have unfolded the way they did, Kwankwaso said. On Vanguard, you get the full details.
All right, still on the Vanguard this morning, Tinubu is human, not sick. Honor dismisses opposition claims. The former Southeast spokesman to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and chairman of the Forum of Former Members of the Enugu State House of Assembly, Denge Joseph Ono, has dismissed concerns surrounding President Tinubu's brief sleep during an official engagement in Turkey, describing the incident as a normal human occurrence rather than a health issue. Ono accused opposition politicians of engaging in what he termed baseless propaganda aimed at exploiting a minor incident that occurred during the president's state visit to Turkey on Tuesday. President Tinubu reportedly slept briefly during a ceremonial welcome in Ankara, an incident that quickly generated widespread reactions across Nigerian media platforms. From the Vanguard, we get a full story.
Still on the Vanguard, electricity, LCCI, others, lament losses as national grid collapses again. Nigeria's national power grid suffered another disruption yesterday, the second in 4 days, triggering widespread outrages that disrupted businesses and renewed concerns over the economic cost of power instability. Even as the Nigeria Independent System Operator, NISO, described the incident as a partial system disturbance. The disruption occurred at about 10:48 a.m., leaving electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, without load calculation and plunging several parts of the country into darkness. Data from the system operator showed that the power generation, which was about 4,000 megawatts the previous day, dropped sharply, with all 12 DISCOs initially recording zero allocation. However, in a press statement, NISO said the incident was not a total grid collapse. According to the system operator, the disturbance originated from the Gombe transmission substation and rapidly propagated to Jeba, Kanji, and Ayede transmission substations. The voltage disturbance led to the dripping of some transmission lines and generating units, resulting in a partial system collapse. On Vanguard, you get the full details.
All right, now moving away from the Vanguard onto the Nation. The Nation news headline this morning: Miyetti Allah leader, others held for alleged sponsorship of bandits in Kwara. Miyetti Allah leader, others held for alleged sponsorship of bandits in Kwara State. Leaders of the Kwara State chapter of Miyetti Allah, including the president Idris Abubakar, have been arrested for alleged involvement in kidnapping and sponsorship of armed bandit groups in the state. It was gathered. Investigations indicated that Miyetti Allah leader reportedly admitted to aiding multiple kidnapping kidnapping operations linked to Fulani bandits. Security sources said these were men over 60 years old, individuals who should be voices of peace, now accused of fueling terror and violence in Nigeria. From The Nation, you will get a full story.
Still on The Nation, fire service rescues 84-year-old man from well in Lagos. The Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service yesterday rescued an 84-year-old man who fell into a deep well at Aboru in the Agbado-Oke-Odo local council development area of the state. The agency said it received a distress call about 10:09 a.m. reporting a rescue incident at number 35A, Fadeyemi Street, Pipeline, Aboru. Rescue officers working alongside personnel from Abeson Fire Station were dispatched to the scene and arrived at approximately 10:20 a.m. According to the Controller General, Margaret Adesheye, the victim was recovered from a well estimated to be about 140 feet deep. Preliminary observations suggest a suspected case of attempted suicide as the well was adequately protected and securely covered, she said. She noted that the victim was recovered by the rescue team and subsequently added over to the family members for further necessary attention. The cause of the incident is subjected to further investigation. On The Nation, you get the full details.
Away from The Nation to this day news headlines. Akpabio laments soaring food prices, urges urgent national action. President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, yesterday raised the alarm over the escalating cost of food and the growing threats of hunger across the country, calling for urgent, coordinated national action to avert a deepening food crisis. Akpabio spoke in his welcome address at the first sitting of the Senate after the Christmas and New Year recess, warning the rising food prices and hunger now pose a grave challenge to national stability and the well-being of Nigerians, citing a recent United Nations projection that up to 35 million Nigerians could face hunger this year. He described the situation as a national emergency requiring immediate legislative, executive, and societal response. He said the worsening cost of food has placed unbearable pressure on households, particularly the most vulnerable, stressing that the Senate must act decisively to strengthen food security and protect Nigerians from the harsh effects of inflation. According to him, addressing hunger must move to the center of national priorities. He added that the Senate would intensify its focus on policies and laws that support agricultural productivity, stabilize food supply chains, and ease the burden of rising prices on ordinary Nigerians. From this day, you will get the first story.
Still on this day, Shetima to move Twang. Tinubu has assured you of a place second to none in our party. The Vice President Kashim Shettima yesterday told Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang that All Progressive Congress (APC) has been further strengthened by his coming and that of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had assured him of a place second to none within the party. Shettima, who led a massive delegation to the governor's former declaration of APC from People's Democratic Party (PDP), described Mutfwang's entry as a force of unity and a turning point for both Plateau and the ruling party. He stated that we are not in a party with crisis, we are a party that believes in team building, in unity, and in leadership that uplift the vulnerable. Mutfwang said his move to APC was the culmination of months of engagement with the president, Shettima, and other national leaders. He described his eventual decision as a strategic repositioning of Plateau ahead of 2027 elections. From this day, you get the full details.
Right away from this day now to Daily Trust. If you're watching us right now, do well to leave a comment in the comment section. Like and share. Now on to Daily Trust. Born to repatriate over 3,000 refugees from Cameroon. Borno to repatriate over 3,000 refugees from Cameroon. The Borno state government has finalized arrangement for the voluntary repatriation of more than 3,000 Nigerian refugees from Cameroon to their ancestral homes after 11 years. This, according to a statement by the spokesman of Borno State Governor Malam Dauda Ilia, was in fulfillment of Governor Zulum's commitment to repatriate and resettle all Nigerian refugees from Borno who are sheltering in neighboring Chad, Cameroon, and Niger for over 11 years. He said during a visit to the camp in December 2025, Governor Zulum assured refugees willing to return that they will do so in a safe and dignified manner. Elias said that during their stay, Cameroonian authorities and humanitarian partners provided shelter, health care, education, and other essential services. Many refugees were also allocated farmland to support agricultural activities, reducing aid dependency and allowing them to sustain their families with dignity. From Daily Trust, you will get the full story.
Still on Daily Trust. 3 to die by hanging for conspiracy, armed robbery in Ekiti State. An Ekiti State High Court sitting in Ado Ekiti has sentenced 3 persons to death by hanging. The convicts are Lasisi Afiz, also known as Yemi Sas, 33 years, Ilesomi Sheun, 32 years, and Ajewole Peter, 53 years. They were arraigned on a 4-count charge bordering on conspiracy, armed robbery, and unlawful possession of firearms. According to the charge, the offences were contrary to Section 314, 312, 2B and 344 of the Criminal Law of Ekiti State 2021. To prove his case, the prosecutor, Julius Ajibare, called 3 witnesses and tendered several exhibits, including car documents, a gun, a mobile phone, and live cartridge. The defendants testified in their own defense through their respective counsel, but called no witnesses. In his judgment, Justice Lekon Ogumoye said he agreed with the position of the prosecution, noting that it was clear from the defendant's confessional statement and the exhibit tendered that they plan to rob Maxwell Hospital, located at Ifesowakpo Street, Nova Road, Ado Ekiti. The judge held that the prosecution successfully proved its case in counts 1, 2, and 3, which bordered on conspiracy and armed robbery, while the defendants were discharged and acquitted on count 4. On Daily Trust, you get the full details.
All right, the headline to wrap up the show this morning is coming from Daily Trust. Ex-Minister Alison Madueke denies bribery charges in UK trial. British prosecutors on Tuesday accused Diezani Alison Madueke, the first woman president of OPEC, of enjoying a life of luxury from bribes taken when she was Nigeria's oil minister. The 65-year-old, who sat in the dock at London Southwark Crown Court on the first day of her trial, is accused of multiple counts of bribery between 2011 and 2015 when she was Nigeria's Minister for Petroleum Resources under the then President Goodluck Jonathan. During that time, those who were interested in lucrative oil and gas contracts with Nigeria State-owned Petroleum Corporation provided significant financial or other advantages to Alison Madueke, prosecutors told the courts. All right, this is where we're wrapping up the show this morning on Daily Trust. Do well to join us again tomorrow. This program will still be making a return your doorstep. As we step aside, don't forget that the confab will be coming your way shortly. At this point, I want to say thank you so much for staying with Daily Trust. Thank you for choosing Esteemed Radio Vision. We also want to appreciate our CEO in the person of Dike Michael Adeboye Shaolu, the founder of Eniakponle Foundation and Esteemed Radio Vision. We also want to appreciate our producer in the person of Ayo. Thank you so much. And to my colleague here, thank you. Until we come your way again, I still remain Chidima Abel and
Oluwatoyosi Solanke.
Yes, for sponsorship and album placement, you can always call us on 0916-634-9956. Do well to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook at Esteemed Radio Vision and on YouTube at Esteemed Studio. Good morning once again.